Hi, welcome to the channel. Today is the second day of sixth chapter, that is practical techniques in mental healings. Let's start mental movie method. As the old saying proclaims, a picture is worth 1,000 words. The fact must be stressed that the subconscious mind will bring to pass any picture held in the mind and backed by faith, act as though I am and I will be. A number of years ago, I was in the Midwest on a lecture tour that took me to several states. I wanted to have a permanent base in the area so that I could serve those who needed my help. My travels carried me far away, but I did not forget the idea of a permanent base. One evening in Spokane, Washington, I relaxed on a couch in my hotel room. I immobilized my attention. In a quiet, passive manner, I imagined that I was talking to a large audience. I said to those listening, I am glad to be here. I have prayed for this ideal opportunity. I saw that imaginary audience in my mind's eye, and I felt the reality of it all. I played the role of the actor and dramatized this mental movie. I felt satisfied that this picture was being conveyed to my subconscious mind, which would bring it to pass in its own way. The next morning, on awakening, I felt a great sense of peace and satisfaction. A few days later, I received a call from an organization in the Midwest asking me to take over as director. I did so, and I enjoyed several years of deeply fulfilling work here. The method I have just described is often referred to as the mental movie method. I have received a great many letters from people who have read my books, or heard me speak, telling me of the wonderful results they have obtained by using this technique. One area in which the mental movie method seems especially useful is in the selling property. If you have a home or property for sale, I suggest that you first satisfy yourself in your own mind that your price is right and fair to both you and the eventual buyer. After having done this, quiet your mind or relax, let go, and get into a drowsy, sleepy state that reduces all mental effort to a minimum. Now picture the check in your hands, rejoice in the check, give thanks for the check, and go off to sleep, feeling the naturalness of the whole mental movie created in your mind. You must act as if this is already in objective reality. When you do, the subconscious mind will take it as an impression. Then The infinite intelligence will draw to you the buyer who really wants to have the property and who will love it and prosper in it. Through the deeper currents of the mind, the buyer and the seller are brought together. A mental picture held in the mind, backed by faith, will come to pass. The Bardowing technique. Charles Bardowing was a professor at the Rousseau Institute in France. He was a brilliant psychotherapist and a researcher or director of the new Nancy School of Healing. He discovered that the best way to impress the subconscious mind is to enter into a drowsy, sleepy state or, or a state akin to sleep in which all effort was or reduced to a minimum. Then the idea can be conveyed to the subconscious in a quiet, passive, receptive way by reflection. As explained a very simple way of securing this impregnation of the subconscious mind is to condense the idea which is to be the object of suggestion, thus sum it up in a brief phrase which can be readily graven on the memory and to repeat it over and over again as lullaby. A few years ago, a young widow in Los Angeles found herself caught up in a prolonged and bitter family dispute. Her late husband had left his entire estate to her, but his sons and daughters from a previous marriage had filed a suit to break the will. Her offers of a settlement were spurned. When she asked me for my help, I explained the Bardwin technique to her. I urged her to condense the idea of her need into a phrase of a few words that could be easily impressed on her memory. The phrase she found was, "It is finished in divine order." To her, these words meant the infinite intelligence operating through the laws of her subconscious mind would bring about a harmonious conclusion through the principle of harmony. Every night for 10 nights, she sat in an armchair, systematically relaxed her body, and entered into the sleepy state. Once in a sleepy state, she affirmed slowly, quietly, and feelingly the statement, "It is finished in divine order," over and over again. She found herself achieving a sense of inner peace and an all pervading tranquility. Then she went off into her deep, normal sleep. On the morning of the 11th day, she woke up with a sense of well being and a conviction that it was indeed finished. Her attorney called her that same day. The opposing attorney and his clients were willing to settle. The harmonious agreement was reached and the lawsuit was dropped. The sleeping technique. When you enter into a sleepy, drowsy state, effort is reduced to a minimum. The conscious mind is submerged to a great extent when in a sleepy state. The reason for this is that the highest degree of outcropping of the subconscious occurs just prior to sleep and just after we awaken. In this state, the negative thoughts, which tend to neutralize your desire and so prevent acceptance by your subconscious mind, are no longer present. Suppose you want to get rid of a destructive habit. Assume a comfortable posture. Relax your body and be still. Get into a sleepy state, and in that sleepy state, shake quietly over and over as a lullaby. I am completely free from this habit, harmony, and peace of mind reign supreme. Repeat these words slowly, quietly, and lovingly for 5 or 10 minutes, night and morning. Each time you repeat the words, the emotional value becomes greater. When the urge comes to repeat the negative habit, repeat this formula out loud to yourself. By this, you induce the subconscious to accept the idea, and a feeling follows. The thank you technique. In the Bible, Paul recommends that we make known our request with the phrase and thanksgiving. Some extraordinary results follow this simple method of prayer. The thankful heart is always close to the creative forces of the universe, causing countless blessings to follow uh, toward it by the law of reciprocal relationship based on a cosmic law of action and reaction. Recently, a young mother told me of her experience with this technique. She said, I was out of the work and broke with three small children to feed and clothe. I didn't know where to turn. Then I heard you explain that we should be thankful even before our prayers and are answered. It was as if a light had gone on in my mind. I knew I had to try it. Every night and morning for about 3 weeks, this woman repeated the words, "Thank you, Father, for my wealth." She did this in a relaxed, peaceful manner and continued until the feeling or mood of thankfulness dominated her mind. She imagined she was addressing the infinite power and intelligence within. Though she knew, of course, that she could not literally see the creative intelligence or infinite mind. She was seeing with the inner eye of spiritual perception, or realizing that her thought image of wealth was the first cause relative to the money, position, and food she needed. Her thought feeling was the substance of wealth, untremula, untremula, or by antecedent conditions of any kind. By repeating, "Thank you, Father," over and over, the woman's mind and heart were lifted up to the point of acceptance. When thoughts of lack, poverty, and distress came into her mind, she would say again, "Thank you, Father," as often as necessary. She knew that as she kept up the thankful attitude, she would recondition her mind to the idea of wealth. This is exactly what happened. This mother's prayer had an interesting sequel. Shortly after she began to pray in the way just described, she met a former employer on the street whom she had not seen in 5 years. The former employer offered her a responsible, well paid position. He even advanced her a temporary loan to tide her over until her first paycheck. As she said to me, "I will never forget the amazing power of the thank you, Father. It has worked wonders for me." The affirmative method. The effectiveness of an affirmation is determined largely by your understanding of the truth and meaning that they underline the words. In praying, use not vain reputation. The power of your affirmation lies in the intelligent application of definite and specific positives. Suppose a pupil adds a 3 and puts down 7 on the blackboard. The teacher affirms with mathematical certainty that 3 and 3 are 6. Therefore, the child changes the figures accordingly. The teacher's statement did not make the 3 and 3 equal 6. This was already a mathematical truth that in turn caused the child to rearrange the figures on the blackboard. It is abnormal to be sick. It is normal to be healthy. Health is the truth of your being. When you affirm health, harmony, and peace for yourself or another, and when you realize these are universal principles of your own being, you rearrange the negative patterns of your subconscious mind based on your faith and understanding of that which you affirm. The result of the affirmative process of prayer depends on conforming to the principles of life regardless of appearances. Consider for a moment there is a principle of mathematics but none of error. There is a principle of truth but none of dishonesty. There is a principle of intelligence but none of ignorance. There is a principle of harmony but none of discord. There is a principle of health but none of disease. And there is a principle of abundance but none of poverty. I chose to use the affirmative method when my sister was about to be operated on for the removal of gall, gallstones in a hospital in England. Her diagnosis was based on the usual hospital test and x-ray procedures. She asked me to pray for her recovery. I was over 6,000 miles away, but this did not disturb me. There is no time or space in the mind principle. Infinite mind or intelligence is present in its entirely every point simultaneously. Several times a day, I withdrew all thought from the contemplation of my sister's symptoms and from the corporeal personality altogether. Calmly, confidently, I affirmed as follows. This prayer is for my sister, Catherine. She is relaxed and at peace, poised, balanced, serene, and calm. The healing intelligence of her subconscious mind that created her body is now transforming every cell, nerve, tissue, muscle, and bone of her being according to the perfect pattern of all organs lodged in her subconscious mind. Silently, quietly, or all distorted uh, through distorted thought patterns in her subconscious mind are removed and dissolved, and the vitality, wholeness, and beauty of life principle are made manifest in every atom of her being. She is now open and receptive to the healing currents that are flowing through her like a river, restoring her to perfect health, harmony, and peace. All the distortions and ugly images are now washed away by the infinite ocean of love and peace flowing through her, and it is so. At the end of 2 weeks, my sister had another examination. Her x rays were negative. Her doctor admitted that she showed a remarkable healing and called off the scheduled surgery. To affirm is to state that it is so. As you maintain this attitude of mind as true, regardless of all evidence to the contrary, you will receive an answer to your prayer. Your thought can only affirm for even if you deny something, you are actually affirming the presence of what you deny. Repeating an affirmation, knowing what you are saying and why you are saying it, leads the mind to that state of subconsciousness where it accepts that which you state as true. Keep on affirming the truth of life until you get the subconscious reaction that satisfies. Okay, we will start the argumentative method in the next session. If you are new on the channel, subscribe the channel and press bell icon so that you will get a notification about new video upload. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.